The wedding guests couldn't stop laughing when the beautiful bride suddenly pointed across the elegant outdoor venue and loudly whispered to everyone around her, "Look at my poor ex. He actually came wearing that old suit." Heads turned instantly toward a quiet man standing near the back, holding the tiny hand of his young daughter. He lowered his eyes, pretending not to notice the mocking smiles spreading through the crowd. But only a few minutes later, the sound of powerful engines echoed through the peaceful afternoon. 3 identical black SUVs slowly rolled through the entrance, stopping directly beside the lonely single father. Every conversation froze. Every smile disappeared. What happened next would leave everyone questioning how quickly people judge a person's worth. Before we continue, if you believe kindness is never weakness and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes in hope, and subscribe to Heartline Stories for more emotional and inspiring true-to-life stories. The man's name was Rowan Mercer, and although many people at the wedding remembered him as the groom who never became a husband, almost nobody knew the full story. Years earlier, Rowan had been engaged to Celine Hartwell, the woman now dressed in an expensive white wedding gown. They had once dreamed about building a family together, but life changed faster than either of them expected. Rowan's small construction business collapsed after a series of devastating storms destroyed several projects, leaving him drowning in debt. Around the same time, his older sister and her husband died unexpectedly in a tragic highway accident, leaving behind a 4-year-old daughter named Ivy. Without hesitation, Rowan adopted the little girl. Overnight he became a struggling single father, balancing multiple jobs while comforting a child whose entire world had fallen apart. The financial pressure became unbearable, and Celine slowly drifted away from the relationship. Eventually she chose comfort over commitment, ending their engagement and beginning a new life with a wealthy entrepreneur whose luxurious lifestyle seemed to promise everything Rowan no longer could. For the next several years Rowan disappeared from everyone's attention. He worked before sunrise delivering supplies, spent afternoons repairing homes damaged by weather, and stayed awake at night studying business management after Ivy had fallen asleep. Every dollar he earned went toward rent, groceries, school supplies, and creating a stable home for the little girl who depended completely on him. There were evenings when dinner consisted of simple soup and bread, but Ivy never felt unloved because Rowan filled their tiny apartment with bedtime stories, laughter, and unwavering encouragement. He never complained about the sacrifices because he believed real wealth could never be measured by bank accounts alone. Quietly, without announcing it to anyone, he also continued helping families rebuild affordable homes after disasters, refusing payment whenever he met someone who reminded him of his own difficult journey. When Rowan unexpectedly received an invitation to Celine's wedding, he almost threw it away. Yet Ivy gently asked whether forgiving people meant sometimes showing up with kindness instead of bitterness. Her innocent wisdom convinced him to attend. He borrowed his late father's neatly pressed charcoal suit, one that had become slightly outdated but remained perfectly clean, and together they traveled to the beautiful countryside estate where hundreds of guests gathered beneath bright blue skies and warm afternoon sunshine. Rowan had no intention of causing attention. He simply wanted to silently wish the couple well and finally close a painful chapter of his life. Unfortunately, some people mistake quiet dignity for weakness. As soon as Celine noticed Rowan standing beside Ivy, she couldn't resist making a cruel remark loud enough for nearby guests to hear. Her laughter encouraged others to stare at his old suit and modest appearance. Several guests exchanged judgmental looks, assuming life had defeated him. Rowan felt the familiar sting of humiliation, but he gently squeezed Ivy's hand and reminded himself that true character is revealed not during moments of praise but during moments of disrespect. Ivy looked up at him with complete admiration, seeing not a poor man but the strongest father she had ever known. Then everything changed. The distant rumble of engines interrupted the music. 3 polished black SUVs entered the venue in perfect formation before stopping beside Rowan. Well-dressed security professionals stepped out first, followed by respected business executives carrying folders and greeting Rowan with genuine respect. Confused whispers spread throughout the wedding as everyone watched the once-ignored single father welcomed like an honored guest. Even the groom looked stunned. Few people knew that 2 years earlier Rowan had volunteered to rebuild homes after a devastating flood in a nearby county. During that project he met an elderly investor who quietly observed how Rowan refused extra payment and instead insisted that struggling families receive safe homes first. Deeply moved by his honesty, the investor later offered Rowan the opportunity to lead a new social housing company dedicated to building affordable communities across the country. Rowan accepted only after ensuring the company's mission focused on helping ordinary families rather than maximizing profit. Under his leadership, the organization expanded rapidly, attracting ethical investors who valued integrity over greed. The executives arriving that afternoon had come directly from a board meeting because Rowan's signature was needed to finalize the company's largest housing initiative in its history, a project that would provide thousands of families with homes they could actually afford. No luxury watch, expensive car, or designer suit could have earned the respect reflected in those executives' faces. They admired Rowan because he had never abandoned compassion, even when life gave him every reason to become bitter. While guests stood speechless, one executive proudly introduced Rowan as the visionary whose leadership had transformed countless lives. Cameras that had been focused on the bride slowly turned toward the quiet father who had become an inspiration without seeking recognition. Celine watched in stunned silence as realization slowly replaced confidence. She remembered walking away when Rowan seemed to have nothing left, never understanding that his greatest strength had always been his heart rather than his wallet. Standing beside Ivy, Rowan never looked toward her with revenge or satisfaction. Instead, he simply smiled with peace that only forgiveness can bring. Success had not changed him. Hardship had refined him. Before leaving, Rowan thanked the wedding staff for their kindness toward Ivy, shook the groom's hand with sincere respect, and quietly stepped into one of the waiting SUVs. Ivy waved happily through the window, completely unaware that the adults around her had just witnessed a lesson far more valuable than any wedding ceremony could teach. The convoy slowly disappeared beneath the bright afternoon sun, leaving behind absolute silence and countless people reconsidering the way they judged others. If this story has touched your heart, please pause for a moment to like this video, share it with your family and friends, subscribe to Heartline Stories, and leave a comment because your support helps us continue bringing meaningful stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe a person's character is worth more than their appearance or wealth. As the music finally resumed, the wedding continued, but nobody remembered the decorations or the expensive flowers as vividly as they remembered the humble single father who arrived unnoticed and left admired by everyone. Rowan proved that life has an incredible way of rewarding those who choose responsibility over comfort, kindness over pride, and forgiveness over revenge. Sometimes the people the world calls poor are quietly building riches that money can never buy, and when their moment finally arrives, they don't need to humiliate anyone to prove their worth. Their actions speak louder than revenge ever could, reminding us all that true success begins in the heart.